Hey everyone, today we're going to be creating a Unity 2D ragdoll character using Inkscape and Unity Engine. So in Inkscape we're just going to create some very basic shapes, so we'll just create a circle for the head, a couple of rectangles for the body, so we'll just color code it a little bit differently. We'll create a bicep. So we'll just create a different color for that, and we'll create a forearm. Maybe just make it green, maybe. So we'll just resize this slightly just to make more sense. And we want to keep the parts separate like this so that you can cut it up in Unity. So you can just press Ctrl D here to duplicate that, and then just bring this across over to that side. And then we just want to create some legs. So we'll just create another rectangle again over here, and we can just choose another color and then duplicate that. Not the best colors, but it'll just get an outline of what our character will look like. So draw this in Inkscape. Inkscape is free to download and quite nice for creating some graphics for your games. And let's now export this so we can use it in Unity. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all like so, and then I'm going to go ahead and say export PNG. And what I want to do is I just want to rename each of these images to different things. So to do that, you can basically just go on the selection and you could just call this head, and you can export it and so on. So I'm not going to go through this whole process. It's quite simple. You can do the same. And then when we come back, I would have imported this into Unity. So we're back in Unity now, and I've created this Unity 2D ragdoll tutorial project. It's just a regular 2D Unity project. So now we're going to bring in our character sprite. So if you have gone and created your sprite in separate images, so basically the body parts are all in separate PNGs or images, then you should be fine to just drag yours into the scene right now. But if you've created one single image like I have, you can bring it into Unity like this. And then you need to go over to sprite mode and go to multiple and click on sprite editor. Click apply and then go over to slice and choose automatic and slice. So now it'll split your items into, or your body parts into different pieces. I'm just going to rename each one so that it makes sense. And I'll just call this B right, F right, and we'll call this torso, and leg right LR, L, B left, and F left. Then you can click apply and close this window over here. So in some versions of Unity, you will be able to drag this whole thing into your scene like that, but in my version you cannot. So you can click on this play over here, and then you can just drag in your individual items. Forearm right, forearm left, bicep left, bicep right, torso, and then your two legs. Left, left, and left, right. Or leg right, left, leg. Now we'll do is we'll just position them more or less in the right place. So you can just click on any of these and just position it. We're going to put the head at the base of the torso about. We're going to move this arm quite close to the torso, and the same with the forearms. So just do that more or less in the right position. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's actually why ragdolls are so fun, is because they're quite quirky and they move around in weird and strange ways. So if you make yours a little bit imperfect, that's actually a good thing. I'm going to just move these things more or less into the right position like that. And then what we'll do is we'll just grab all of these and make sure we don't select a camera. And we want to add a few things. So I'm going to add a rigid body 2D. We're also going to add a box collider 2D. And let's just see that we've got everything correct here simulated. That's fine. And that's all good. Let's hit play and see what this does. Now we just have a player that falls all at the same acceleration or downward acceleration. Now what we want to do is just create a platform as well, which our player can fall onto. So we'll just go over to assets, right click over here, create, and we'll go to sprites and just create a square, and we'll bring that square into our scene and just resize it to the size we want. And we could just use this tool over here and drag it across. Zoom out. I'm going to make it quite wide so we have a decent platform for our player to fall onto. On this, we'll create a component box collider 2D. So we have a collider, and let's just hit play and see how this looks. Basically, our player collides and all its little joints fall off and body parts fall off. So we need to now turn this into an actual ragdoll. So to do that, we'll go over to here to the left. In the hierarchy, we'll right click and create an empty game object and rename it to player. I'll grab the head and we'll hold in shift and we'll click on the left forearm or whatever that is, and then I'm going to just drag it under the player over here so that it's all grouped together. Now what we're going to do is we need to create joints for these. So I'm going to select the head all the way down to LR over here, and I'm going to add a component, and I'm going to select hinge joint 2D, and you'll see it's going to create all these different joints for us. So what we want to do now is we actually want to position these, because if we left them the way they are, you'll see that this is what we get, something that doesn't do anything. So to edit them, we'll just zoom in a little bit and we'll click on the head first, and then we'll click edit joint angular limits, and we'll just move this down to the base of the head. So this would be like a neck where the head could turn on. And then we'll have this bicep over here, we'll edit, and we want it basically joined on the torso. And in this, we want on the elbow. And then we'll do the same on the left. Like so. Yeah, don't want to. Okay, let's edit and then do that again. And then we'll do the same with the legs. We'll actually leave the torso just the way it is, as its center of mass will be in the middle, as you'll see over there. Let's hit play and see what that does. So you'll see there's a slight movement of the arms, and that's still not quite what we want. So what we want to do next is select all of these and just have a look at some of these settings. So we want to connect the rigid bodies so that they have basically a common anchor point which they are connected to. So the head is going to be connected to the torso, so we'll drag the torso in. These biceps will be connected to the torso, so we'll just add them as torso. The legs, you can actually select both of them and bring in the torso. And then these arms will basically be connected to their counterpart bicep. So bicep left is the one we want here. And then bicep right is the one we want here. So let's hit play and see how that looks. You'll see now the arms fall down, the other parts of the body are actually moving around, and it's tilting and rolling over, which is cool. So now let's go ahead and play in the scene view to see what we can do with this. So we'll just go ahead and go over to scene here and just grab the head. And let's just use the tool that we can move the head around. So you'll see it's detached from the body completely now, but there is some type of joint that's anchoring it. So that is basically the anchor joint. So what we'll do here is we'll just get rid of this auto configure connected anchor, like so, and hit play. And now it's still behaving more or less the same way, but the difference is going to be this. If we grab the scene and let's just grab the torso, for example, you can see it's now all connected and it's moving in a very weird, strange way in our scene. So that's what makes ragdoll so fun, is that they're so quirky and they just move around in very strange ways. And the reason this is spinning around like this is you need to basically go and set limits. If we wanted to set a limit on this arm, for example, we could just go over to use limits and angle limits over here. So if we click on use limits and we just make this 180 degree, and let's make this 90, and we need to make this 180. You'll see it's in the wrong direction now, but let's set it to something that makes more sense, like negative 90 and 90. So it can only then rotate around this axis, basically. If we play this, you should see that in action. If we grab by the arm, and let's grab the body, and it sort of limits the way that this arm can actually rotate. So you can play around with all of this, but this is the basics of actually creating a ragdoll and how you can do it in Unity, just to make your games a little more interesting and bring in ragdolls into your games. So guys, I hope this has been a useful and nice tutorial for you to watch, and if you'd like it, please like below, and if you have any questions, please leave some comments. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.